What's going on, YouTube? JT is born here, and welcome to another edition of my MonsterVerse / King Kong comic book reviews. And in today's video, we're talking about Return to Skull Island, issue number 2. If you haven't already, be sure to check out my video on issue 1. It's on the channel. And of course, this is the continuation of the Skull Island animated series that's set in the timeline of the MonsterVerse. So, yes, this is actually, I think, an improvement over the first issue. The first issue definitely was kind of needed as a bit of a recap because it had been a minute since I'd seen the show, and just kind of recapping who the characters, what the situation was, and also kind of catching you up on, okay, who was that kind of, picked up Charlie at the end of the season, and then, of course, where Annie ended up. And this is directly, like, continuing the events of that. So, yeah, like I said, I thought this one was a pretty good issue overall. So this one is written by Simon Furman, artist by Christopher Jones, which faithfully replicates the style and visual language, I guess, of the series. And yeah, so in this thing, we see how Annie is trying to acclimate to her life. Newsflash, she isn't. She was kind of raised in a bit of a feral environment on Skull Island and all these other islands of sorts, and just all the stuff she's had to endure, and just constantly in survival mode. I mean, any kid growing up in that environment would be a little bit hostile, and so she's having difficulties adjusting to, I guess, a normal life. Like, she sees the monsters there, she fights them, and ends up knocking some kid out because, again, she's a kid born, or not necessarily born, but raised most of her life in a hostile environment. And so her mom and dad are just trying to find some sort of connection. I still am convinced that when they reveal her last name, it's going to be Darrow, because Annie, I mean, Kong, it's got to be Ann Darrow. Like, I just feel like that's something that's going to happen at some point. But yeah, and we also see how Charlie's been acclimating to things, and newsflash, she still is having some trouble right there. We have that girl, Kaya, who was seen previously, and we see Dog back, which is great. I do love Dog. Dog was probably my favorite character on the Skull Island series, and there are moments where her and her mom form some connections in that too. We also see that Mike had gotten a little bit better, and him and Annie are looking to form some sort of rescue mission to go save Charlie, because he helped save their lives. Kong is also still in kind of a recovery bit. I mean, Charlie's dad's there trying to help him out, and we do see a new monster forming in this thing that's kind of a big threat that Kong has to fight. I think it was like, somebody's like, Yorgoth, or whatever its name was. I don't think it was listed in the issue, but I think somebody online said it was listed on that. But some weird, like, spore muck monster. It's almost as if the island birthed it itself. And of course, like I said, there's one nice moment between Annie and her mom kind of connecting. You see them going after their means to kind of get back to Skull Island, and then her mom that's kind of watching secretly. All these other monsters start attacking. This new Titan roars, and that sets Kong off, so he's ready to kind of challenge this thing despite not being at 100%. And we have a new team ready to go back to Skull Island, and it looks like it's snowing in this thing. I thought Skull Island was just tropical. I guess maybe there's high mountain points that we haven't seen that kind of have snowy elements to them, or unless there's some other white substance that's kind of flowing right there, but I'm going to assume it's snow. And Kong fights this thing, and there's some cool looking visuals right here. It's always nice to see a little bit of kaiju action in this stuff. And Kong struggles a little bit because, again, he's not at 100% right now, but he still managed to supposedly win, but he just seems to be out of commission once again. It's just kind of the everyday challenges of being Kong on Skull Island. It's like, okay, he's able to fight and take things down, but it always comes at some sort of price. And the fighting the Kraken was one thing, but then fighting this other thing, like, he needs a break. I mean, even if you look in the MonsterVerse, Kong is constantly, like, in a state of battle, trying to do everything he can to just stay alive and protect those in need. He never gets a break. I guess he kind of got a little bit of a break at the beginning of Godzilla vs. Kong, but he was kind of trapped and unable to really go anywhere. And then he had to kind of have his, like, call to action, like his own hero's journey to go discover his lineage and find a new home, and then free his people after that. Like, Kong's had a really interesting character arc, probably the best ever for a giant monster I think I've ever seen. If you accommodate, like, all the MonsterVerse movies and the comics and the shows and all that connected, seeing how Kong has evolved as a character, it really is something truly special. And again, I thought this was a pretty solid issue. It gave us some interesting character moments, insights to Annie. We saw some new Titans in that on Skull Island, and it continued the storyline, and leaves me interested to see where they're going to go next with this thing. Like, this felt like more of, okay, we're moving the story forward. So I do think we're probably just never going to get that season 2, and that this is the continuation we're going to be with. But you know what? At least it's something. This is what they should be doing with a lot of stuff. Okay, if we can't really conclude it in movie format, let's conclude it in like comic book format. So I appreciated that aspect. So artwork's pretty solid. You get a lot of different things as well. And yeah, pretty good overall second issue. I think it was better than the first. So what did you think of it? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to your channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications, all that other fun stuff. And I got one more comic book review for today, and then I'll be pretty much all set for the week. It's going to be another Godzilla one, but it's not connected to the MonsterVerse. So a Kong and Godzilla comic book, like separate from each other. Well, technically this one's connected in the same universe, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. But anyways, that's all I have to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.